emperor's new clothes. Have you ever felt a bit silly? Once there was a proud emperor called Otto. He was a nice chap, but he was a bit too worried about what other people thought about him. And this got him into a bit of a pickle. He ended up looking very silly indeed. Listen carefully, I'll tell you all about it. Emperor Otto spent almost all of his time in front of the mirror. He couldn't get enough of himself. If he wasn't checking out his new hat, he'd be trying a new scarf or a jacket with diamonds sprinkled with gold leaf. One morning, 2 swindlers rode into town. Swindlers, in case you were wondering, are very bad people who trick others and steal their money. Well, these particular swindlers had heard all about Emperor Otto, so they decided to set up a clothes shop in the swankiest part of town. They put very pretty labels on some very plain clothes and told everyone that they were amazing. The people who visited the shop fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, and the shop was an overnight success. Of course, it didn't take long for Emperor Otto to hear about these 2 new hotshot stylists, and they were summoned to the castle. It was there that they began their dastardly plan. When the emperor asked to see the swindler's finest material, they pretended to bring out a roll of fabric. They made it look like they were holding it up, but in truth, there was nothing there at all. Before a word was spoken, those cunning swindlers explained that this was magical fabric that only wise, important people could see. They said that anyone who couldn't see it must be a bit stupid. Well, of course, not wanting to appear stupid, the emperor pretended he could see the fabric. He even said how beautiful he thought it was, and he ordered the swindlers to make him a new outfit from this magical material for his upcoming procession. Just then, the emperor's royal servant and right-hand man, Floyd, entered the room with 10 pairs of new gold shoes to try on. "Ah, Floyd! Glad you're here. What do you think of this marvelous fabric?" Fabric, sire? What fabric?" "It's magical," said Emperor Otto, "which means you can only see it if you're very clever. You can see it, can't you, Floyd?" Well, Floyd didn't want to look silly. Who does? And so he replied with great energy, "Oh, that fabric? Why, yes, sire, of course. And I must say this is possibly the most divine thing I have ever laid my eyes on. It's stylish and exquisite. It is quite frankly the bee's knees." "Yes, all right, Floyd. Enough now," said the emperor. The swindlers pretended to roll up the material and explained that an outfit made from this magical cloth would cost a great deal of money. "Pish and posh," the emperor replied. "It shall be worth every penny. Hurry, mind you, the procession is in 3 days. Well, the swindlers agreed. Of course they did, because there was actually nothing to make, because there was no actual material. They pretended to take the king's measurements, plus all of the money they could carry, and off they went, laughing and joking about how easy it had been to fool these silly people. 3 days later, on the day of the procession, Emperor Otto's hair had been perfectly coiffed, his skin plumped, his eyes depuffed, and his new outfit made and fitted, or so he thought. Now, before heading to the streets, the Emperor Otto insisted on parading around the palace. It was a strange sight to see, that's for sure, But word had gotten around that you could only see the outfit if you were clever. So although no one could see it, no one said a word. The whole kingdom lined the streets. Thousands of people were eager to take a look at the emperor's new clothes and see what all the fuss was about. Crowds of people clapped and cheered as Emperor Otto passed, all remarking on the style and the design of his marvelous outfit. When suddenly, a small boy shouted out, "I can see his underpants!" It was then that everyone else in the crowd realized that they had been fooled. And they all started laughing and pointing at Emperor Otto standing there in just his pants. Well, the emperor felt very silly indeed, but of course he kept waving and smiling as if nothing was wrong. Meanwhile, his face turned bright red with embarrassment. Now, before you ask, yes, those mean swindlers got away with it. They had already left town with bags of the emperor's money. If there is a moral to this story, it's this. Don't worry too much about trying to look clever or smart, because if you're not careful, you might end up like Emperor Otto, parading around the streets in your underpants. And no one needs to see that.